Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about Steam once again, talking about how they recently added a feature that if an early access game hasn't been updated in a long time, it'll warn you about that the game has been potentially abandoned or the game is dead or the devs, something is wrong. We are on Eurogamer today, and this article is written by Matt Wales. Thank you for the article. It will be linked down in the description if you want to read along with me or if you just want to read it for yourself. The title goes, Steam adds warning flagging potential abandoned early access games, vaporware. So this is the actual warning itself. It has the normal early access software stuff. And then it says, note, this last update made by the developers was over 7 years ago. The information and timeline described by the developers here may no longer be up to date. And honestly, I understand why this is a priority on early access games. I do kind of feel like it should be almost like an update for all games. I feel like if you have multiplayer in a game, I feel like this warning should be there, or especially live service games nowadays as well. But maybe that's just because the current trend is really awful. I definitely 100% agree that it should be in early access games, because some of these early access games come out, update for like 4 months, and then are abandoned, which sucks. And there are tons of reasons why things like that can happen, but it's just something that Steam should be telling you about. Just before we get into the article, I'd like to remember to please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it when you do. Like the video if you also like it and you enjoy this type of content. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a Q&A video, so please subscribe if you'd like to see that. Thank you. Valve has quietly implemented a useful new Steam feature warning users and potential purchasers how long it's been since an early access game had last received an update. Steam Early Access has unquestionably helped a huge number of games over the development finish line since its introduction in 2013. I agree. I think some games really utilize early access really well, including some major success stories: Hades, Subnautica, RimWorld, Rust, Ark Survival Evolved, and Larian Studios' 2023 smash hit Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, literally game of the year for... Oh god, when did it win game of the year? Was it 2024? No, it was 2023. Literally was an early access game in 2021, if I remember correctly, because they were in early access for a couple years. So early access can be very useful. It's just the problem is that not with every success story, there's 10, I don't want to say scams, but like games that were either abandoned or for whatever reason, basically. For instance, but many titles never make it that far, ending up and languishing in early access forever. To be fair, a lot of these games, like for instance Rust, while I'm not saying like it's not a 1.0 game, Rust is still updated very frequently. Same with RimWorld isn't updated as frequently, but there are games that technically launch and like I guess the updates slow down kind of. Like Rust doesn't update, like they used to update like almost literally every week, and now it just has one big update every month. So I guess they did kind of slow down when they released 1.0 Rust, when they finally released it out of early access. So I guess there is games that it's a change of a development cycle basically, but this is a very good update and I'm really happy about this, because there are some early access games that just unfortunately don't get the love that they either deserve or want, and historically it's not always been easy to distinguish the abandoned games from those still in active development, not without poking around through user reviews and developer updates at least. But now, as spotted by SteamDB on Blue Sky, Valve is seemingly looking to make that process easier by placing a warning on early access titles that haven't been updated in a year, enabling users to make more informed purchase decisions. Now, the only potential problem I see with this is that some games don't update that frequently, but I guess in early access, you should be expecting more updates a lot. So I guess, is a year enough? I think a year is enough, honestly, because I guess it's not even talking about big updates. It's just talking about any update. Like if you've never updated the game in early access in 12 months, I guess there should be a warning, because no matter what game you're making, a small update shouldn't take 12 months. And if you're working on one big update, you should be doing bug fixes anyway, and there should be at least some sort of update frequency. There should be at least one update of some kind in a year. I do feel like that, now that I've talked it out and thought about it a little bit, yeah, I do kind of agree. A year is enough time, I do feel like. Users viewing an affected release will now see a message in its early access box warning. The last update made by the developers was over X months ago. Their information and timeline described here by the developers here may no longer be up to date. The message appears to be triggered after 12 months without an update, increasing monthly then yearly from there. Valve hasn't publicly detailed its thinking behind this new feature, something it occasionally does over the official Steam blog, but it's certainly a useful addition given the increased number of games adopting the Steam early access model, a figure that's risen from 7 in 2013 to 2,605 last year, according to SteamDB. I mean, it's like I said earlier, early access is actually a very useful thing for Steam, but unfortunately, and I'm not even talking about like the bad actors, sometimes things don't go as planned. And sometimes, you're a very passionate small team, and unfortunately, that team either breaks or something bad happens, or there just isn't enough money, not enough investment, or just like people run out of money and have to go back to either other jobs or working other projects, and this becomes a passion product. And it's good to the biggest thing for this is that it'll obviously take away the big scams, because once again, I do feel like 12 months is enough time for even a one-man team that's doing a passion project that works a regular job or has other things to do. You can push some form of an update within 12 months. And I would say as long as the system understands that even small updates are updates, and I hope that it is I wonder if it has a detection system other than just the pure numbers behind it, because then you can see like at least the scammers I can see pushing random updates like at 12 months, so the system doesn't false flag it or flag it. But I wonder if they have ways to go against that. Valve's ongoing Steam finessing has also brought the likes video game recordings, pinned notes, enhanced review filtering, and new family sharing options to the platform in recent years. Its additional introduced the ability for Steam users to mark individual titles in their library as private last March, preventing prying eyes from watching as they fire up Saucy Pub Game 4. It's true. I do feel like this is a very good update. Now, once again, the minute details of the update is something that we're just going to have to figure out, because I wonder if the system can be tricked. If you can push like a literal like kilobyte update to stop this trigger, because some people some scammers go very far to try to get people's money. But I do think the overarching theory behind this and the potential is very good. Now, I'm curious if the message will appear even if it's just small updates, because I think that's going to be unfair to the smaller teams because most early access games are smaller teams. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is still a huge game, and it was a big team for the AA developer. But there are a lot of like one-man teams or like less than 10 people that you can't necessarily guarantee a big update every 12 months. So I hope that just small updates still stop this warning. But then you have the problem of, well, then if the kilobyte update can stop this trigger, then you have the scammers that can still get around it potentially. But I mean, that's probably going to be the outlier ones, because for the most part I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be interesting to see how developers have really thought about this. I haven't actually seen a lot of developers talk about this. This story is relatively old. It's been about a week since I've seen this initially hit. So I'm curious, and I didn't see that many developers talk about it, and I do follow a bunch of them. So it's interesting to see, but to be fair, most developers that this is going to be a problem for, I don't follow. So that's probably why. But overall, I still think it's a very good update because of the potential risks of buying early access. And I mean, I've done it too. I've bought an early access game. I've played the game and I was like, oh, this is super fun. I wonder it's going to be done. And the game hasn't been updated in like 3 years. So it's good to see that being stopped. And hopefully this continues Steam's good updates. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of videos. I do them very frequently. If you'd like to check me out on other places, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, all with the same name, the Techno Jelly. Check me out on any of those social media platforms. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye everyone.